I'm going to show you the fastest way to replace your front strut assemblies on a 2008 Nissan Armada. Now these Armadas, I believe they're the same from 2008 to 2015 and maybe even 2004 to 2007 as well. I can tell you for sure on the 2008 because this is what I have sitting right here. Now, first off, this is a very quick way. As a matter of fact, probably the fastest struts I've ever replaced on any vehicle. But for this car here, you need these tools. You'll need a pry bar. You'll need a 19mm socket. Now this is what takes off your lug nuts, but then it also takes off this bottom bolt of your strut. Now on the other side of this bolt, there's a nut over here that is also a 19mm. So I have two 19mm. You'll need an extension. You don't need one this long. I just grabbed one. You can probably do it with one that's about yay long. And then you'll need a 14mm. Now, the 14mm, there is 3 bolts on the top of your strut. There's actually 4. There's 3 that go around the outside and then 1 in the center. The one in the center, don't take it off. That's part of the strut assembly. You're going to take off the 3 outside bolts, and I'll show you on this strut over here. So, now you have 2 options. I'm an O'Reilly's fan. I got a Master Pro complete strut assembly. Now what that means you get the strut along with the spring, and it's already compressed, everything. That costs you an additional $20 per side. I highly recommend to spend that extra 20 bucks if you're doing this yourself. Now you can just get the strut and save yourself money, but what that's going to mean is you have to get a spring compressor, take that bolt off, put your strut in, use your original spring. This way you get all of it and it's all new all at once. And again, very, very easy to replace. So, and I'll show you on this side because I've already done this one. I literally replaced this entire strut assembly on this side in about 12 minutes. I don't even know if it was 12 minutes. It was pretty daggone fast. With this here, you won't have to take off anything. You don't need to take off your brakes, your drum, your rotor, but I'll show you. Now for starters, it is going to be important where you put your jack stands, because if you put your jack stands where you would normally put them, you know, like say right here, that's going to compress that strut and it makes it where you can't get it out. So make sure you put it in a position where it's not going to press up against your strut while you're trying to work on the vehicle. Always use jack stands, by the way. Okay, so let me pause real fast. Okay, so I've got the 2 19mm bolts. Again, the one on the outside here. And then I've got my ratchet over on the other 19mm bolt, so we'll pop that off. Okay. Okay, so now when you take that bolt out, down here on the bottom, now you can take the top bolts off first if you want. The reason I do it this way, it holds the strut in place while you take this bottom bolt out. Because if you take them top bolts out, then this will drop just a little bit. It'd probably be just as easy. You could probably go either way. I'm just telling you how I did it. I left those in there to hold that in place. Now, one thing I did forget to mention, pay attention to the position of your strut, because when you go to put the new one back in, you want the end of your spring right here in the same exact position, because it's beveled to the top, and if you put it in wrong, it's never going to go back in. You'll figure that out. So the top 3 bolts we're going to get, that is these bolts here. Now again, the middle bolt, you won't do anything with that. The only reason you'll take that off if you are replacing just your strut and using your own spring. But these 3 bolts here on the outside, those are the ones that we're going to take off on the top. Once we do that, this whole assembly will pull out and drop down in this position down in here, and you'll be able to wiggle that strut out. And then you'll use a small pry bar to pry down just a hair, and that will save you all the time from taking all this off. So let me get those bolts off. Hang on just a second. Okay, so now that I took those top 3 bolts out, it'll fall down in a position, but it almost gets locked in. So make sure when you're taking that last bolt out, keep a hand down here and kind of hold that up That way it doesn't drop, because once it drops out, to get it out, you kind of need those threads to be sticking out of the top just a little bit. That way you have extra room. And what that'll allow you to do is spin it like so. That gets this out. You'll drop it down into that slot. And this side I didn't even need to pry. Now on the other side, on that driver's side, what I had to do from this position here, get a pry bar, run all the way back to the frame, and then you basically just pop down on it. That popped it down just enough, right, to take this entire assembly out. Now again, pay attention to the bottom of your spring, because you want that facing out. Okay, so what I did, I stuck that back into place. I put one bolt in the top of it, and I threaded it maybe 4 or 5 turns, just enough to kind of hold that somewhat in place. Now, because this sits a little lower, take your knees or something, and see how I'm picking up on this here. Now I'm going to slide the bolt back into place. Then you'll put the other bolt on the other side. Once you get it synced in, put your 3 bolts on the top, tighten it up, and then you're done. It is so quick, and a lot faster than what you're going to pay a shop to do. So if you know how to take a wheel off a car, I think you could probably do this, especially on this Armada. Thanks, and have a blessed day.